This week on the Wounded Warriors in Action podcast, host John McDaniel sits down with Jake Whipkey, as well as Doll and Dave Studenka of the Southwest Ohio Ducks and Bucks mission supporting the Wounded Warriors in Action Foundation. Let's join John now.
Today's date is 10 March 2022. My name is John McDaniel, and I am the founder and CEO of the Wounded Warriors in Action, and welcome to our podcast. And it is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you three great Americans that have been helping support the foundation for 11 years, have been conducting an operation in Southwest Ohio. I think it's like in your face, waterfowl in your face. Isn't that what you guys call it? Something like that?
We slipped that in probably 2 years ago, and then now it's just Ducks and Bucks, Danny.
Ducks and Bucks.
But foul in your face was.
I like it. Foul. Oh, yeah, you had a deer. Yeah, foul in your face. I love it. Mm-hmm. So, and we also have Jake. I'll start with Jake Whipkey. Jake is back on the podcast because Jake has been supporting this amazing event. I want to say almost every year, right? I mean, don't you? If not every year, many, many times. You're very good friends with Dave and Dan, and with us tonight we have Doll and Dave Studenka, and of course Jake Whipkey. And I would just like to welcome all of you on our podcast, Honor, Connect, and Heal. And I would like to start out with Dave, if you don't mind, would introduce yourself to everybody, please? Yeah,
it's a pleasure being here, gentlemen. And I know we had some bullet points about how the questions that were going to be asked. And I guess when we look back to just how Danny and I got together and the foundation, the Southwest chapter was started, we had known each other for quite a long time prior to. In fact, Danny's uncle, Danny has a good friend, his cousin, Eric Wederick. So I had known Danny prior to the foundation, our chapter starting. So a little bit about myself is I'm 48 years old. I was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio. Spent most of my early young adult life hunting and fishing, Portsmouth, Ohio specifically. So I was raised just in that element. That's something I'll never change, and I continue to pass it on. It's a beautiful thing. And like Gabe said, that first event, it was never about how many ducks we harvest. It's about the people you're with. So that was kind of like, it just really hit me in the beginning. And all we did was just bring what our passion is and everything we enjoy every spring and fall and winter to the foundation when we finally became involved with it. So yeah, I'm a father. Been married to my wife for, I got to think about this number. I think it's 19.
Back out now.
Give or take one or two margin of error. I've got three boys. Yes, I am a father of three boys. My oldest son is Ben. He's 16. And I have twin boys who are 13, Jacob and Cole. Heavily active in outdoors and sports, and we stay busy, and we look forward to baseball practices and all the lacrosse and football and basketball. And so that's just a little bit about myself. And hunting was such a huge thing growing up in our family. I mean, it was spent, the winters down in Portsmouth, Ohio, and Dad and I used to go on trips together. And it was so instrumental. It was our DNA, and was passed down for generations. So continuing to pass it along to my kids, and of course, more importantly, the foundation and the heroes we serve.
You work for CAT, is that right?
That's correct. I'll have 20. I'll have 20 years in this December at Caterpillar Equipment Sales.
So what do you do? You sell heavy metal. What is it you do?
Yeah, I'm an equipment salesman. So I basically sell Caterpillar equipment, the brand name Caterpillar equipment, and then, of course, Allied implement as well, different brands and stuff like that. But majority, I work for Ohio Cat, which is the sole Caterpillar dealer in Ohio. So we represent 13 stores in Ohio.
Excellent.
So it's interesting how a lot of people that I come around every day are They all hunt and they all fish. So we've kind of been able to kind of connect our line of work, and I'll mention that later, of course, when we start to get into some of the people that have helped grow this chapter. And graciously, monetarily, they've supported it and they've helped out in so many ways. We can't thank them enough.
Excellent. Okay, well, Danny Dahl's with us too. Dan, welcome, and tell us, tell us about yourself.
So once again, I'm Dan Dahl, and was from Ohio. Now I'm in Rising Sun, Indiana. So made a big move this last year. It's been an interesting one, sure enough. But I've got two kids, Ryan and Hannah. My daughter's in Philadelphia, but actually just got into grad school. She's going to Wisconsin, so she'll be heading up there. My son is 21 years
Wisconsin.
old. Oh, yeah, yep. She tried to get to Ohio State, and not Ohio State, but Michigan, but she didn't want to go there, so she ended up at Wisconsin, but great school. But my son, 21 years old, he's doing great. He's living back in Ohio right now, so we're doing really good. And my wife is doing well also. But we started with the foundation over 10 years ago, and I believe I contacted you, John, because I basically found it on the website. I found Wounded Warriors in Action on the website, and like I said, me and Stu, we just always kind of want to do something like this, and we were talking about it. And I recently just retired from Ohio National Guard, and contacted you, and just made sense to want to be able to help guys that I've seen firsthand. So I did a deployment over in Iraq, and I was with the 16th Engineer Brigade from Ohio, and we were under the 4th ID, and they're in Baghdad. So I was able to see a lot of things. Pretty much, I was in the rear with the gear, as some would say, but I had contact with all of our route clearance teams who basically went outside the gate every single day, and just seeing what they had to do and deal with in 2006 was pretty traumatic for these guys, and that's all part of me and Dave kind of trying to reach out and help people. Like I said, I had an uncle who was in Vietnam, blinded ever since, but he didn't let anything stop him. Got married, had 3 great kids. Actually was a teacher, taught. What an inspiration. But back then, Vietnam veterans, they were not treated well at all. So that's kind of how we got behind this and thinking, okay, what can we do to help guys who really, guys and girls who've had issues in combat, and it kind of brought that baggage with them. Would never want to see that again. Come back on a plane and get spit on or things like that. So that's kind of how we got involved, and I guess kind of the end result is when we bring these individuals in, these heroes, they're really kind of shy and don't quite know what to say at the beginning of the weekend. When we basically kick them out the door and say, "Hey, go home," they don't want to go home. They're hugging, they're crying, they're giving each other high fives. It's great to see. So we want to give them that sense of normalcy, and just give them a big pat on the back, because they deserve it. They've seen a lot. They're struggling sometimes, and I hope we've been able to help. 10 plus years we've been doing this event, but so that's kind of my background. I'm a Cincinnati fireman. Still got about 6 years to go, but once again, I've been done with the National Guard for about 10 years, and but we've been happy doing everything we could for the organization. Really think it does a lot of good.
Well, you guys have been doing a great job, and you've done a lot of things, unique things to raise money and awareness for the cause as well. Both of you have, but I remember very specifically there was a bit that involved brown water, didn't it? Like it was you were selling, I say brown water, bourbon,
flew
whiskey,
right over my head. Should have mentioned that, but yeah, that's we've had things all along the way that just kind of made that just kind of fell in our lap. We did one Buffalo Trace pick where we went down and picked a bottle of Eagle Rare with Mark Caskey. He helped get that together for us.
That's right.
So,
yeah. Very good. Oh, we appreciate it. And were you an officer?
I was, major in the Ohio National Guard.
You retired as a major?
Correct. Yes.
Well, we thank you for your service, buddy. I appreciate that. I'll tell you one quick story before we get to Jake. because I can. You were talking about Wisconsin and Vietnam veterans, and the other day I was at it was a Veterans Day event, but it was held in March at a trailer park in Florida, of all things. And I was asked to speak at that, and I did. It was a great little gathering. And as I was thinking about what I was going to say, and I was sitting there, I hadn't really decided what I was going to say, which is pretty typical of me. Somehow it struck me, this idea of when I was in college at the University of Wisconsin. I was first an enlisted guy, and then I joined the ROTC at Madison, and so I joined as an MS military, I guess MS3, what the equivalent of a junior in the program. My previous time in service exempted me from the first 2 years of ROTC, which was great. And so I joined, I was younger than everybody in my class, but I got to enter the program as a junior, which was excellent for me. And so I remember the labs were on Thursday. Now, mind you, Wisconsin, the University of Wisconsin, it's a great academic institute. It's a great place to party. It's like, one of the greatest, party campuses on the planet, right? And there's great things there. The Capitol's there. There's lots of, there's outdoor sporting activities. It's just a wonderful campus and a great, institution of higher learning, if you will. But it's also very liberal. And when I say liberal, I mean they used to erect shanties I'm not kidding you, shanties on the state capitol lawn and smoke pot. And hey, if that's what you're into, that's fine. But the police didn't do anything. And I used to think it was just hilarious, man. We would do a run, the ROTC run around the Capitol building when they were doing it. It was awesome. Anyway, but I'd go to school on Thursdays in my uniform, and I'd spend the night polishing my little pips, that went on my, I was very proud of that. I had shiny stuff on my shoulders and on my hat. And back in the day, I was, polishing my boots, and, I was getting all ready for lab. And you were supposed to wear your uniform to lab to sort of show your pride and your, in your service branch and all this, because they were paying you a whopping $110 a month to do that and to be in the ROTC program. And so every now and again, I would hear, Nazi, and I'd turn around and I'd look like, who said that, and because I knew it was directed to me, or baby killer. You think anybody'd be standing there? No. But anyway, that, and I was like, that occurred to me that actually happened many times. And I was going to kill somebody if I found them. If I did, somebody was going to, we were going to go at it. Okay. I guarantee you. And so I actually stopped wearing my uniform because I didn't want to have an altercation with somebody. It made me very livid. I just wasn't a big enough person at the time to deal with it. Right. So I would put my uniform in my rucksack and then sneak into the ROTC building, into the bathroom, and change into my uniform and then wear it for ROTC day or whatever, and that's sad because it's a land grant university. I'm going on a tangent here, but that's okay. And so the point, bring this back full circle, is I was sitting there in the chair getting ready to talk in this, Veterans Day event, which happened to be this month. That's not Veterans Day's in November, right? But they just do it early because all the snowbirds are down here. It's a great event. And I was thinking about that, and it occurred to me, like, I remember going to school. I mean, we're talking 1983, okay? And Vietnam at the time seemed like it was like forever ago. Like that was ancient history. Vietnam was ancient history. But you know what? It wasn't. Vietnam, Saigon falls in 1975, right? Okay, and I'm going to school at the University of Wisconsin in 1983. Do the math, it's 8 years. Like 8 years seem, you guys have been doing this event for 12 years. So Vietnam, the memory of Vietnam, of course, they blew up the Red Gym. There wasn't a, and the students did, the riots. I mean, it was a hotbed for activism and all of this, right? But anyway, and I wanted to mention that because your daughter's going to the University of Wisconsin. And, of course I did, and great place. But, I mean, God bless the Vietnam generation. That's who I grew up learning from. All my battalion, brigade, division commanders were all Vietnam veterans. So that's the leadership that I grew up under. And I said to myself at the time, here's my point. I said to myself at the time, I will do something. I promise you, I will do something that helps right that. I don't know what that's going to be, and I didn't know in 1983. But here we are in 2022, and talking to some of the greatest Americans on the planet who are helping this mission happen. And this little thing that we are doing at the Wounded Warriors in Action Foundation, I think, qualifies as something. And I told that story for the first time because I remembered it for the first time. So I appreciate your patience in having me lay that out. But now we have Jake Whipkey with us, Mr. Whipkey, who has the greatest beard on the planet. I think it's hairs per square centimeter. Our Lord knows what the thread count is there. But God bless you. Jake, tell us about yourself, please.
Jake Whipkey. I hail from Boswell, Pennsylvania, a little town in southwest Pennsylvania here. Have a beautiful wife, Sarah, with a long-term engagement, short-term marriage right now. We've been engaged forever, and I just got married, I guess, a couple months ago. And
congratulations,
Dave. I already forget how long it's been, Dave. I mean, so we're like on the same page. I'm glad I could open that up for you.
Thanks for the invite.
But yeah. See, this is the problem, the invite thing. That's why we did it at the house with just intimate family members, and it was very, very low key. But so I have Sarah here and two beautiful boys. Camden, he just turned 8, and Easton he'll be 2 in May. So 2 little firecrackers there, and kind of like Stu, we're getting involved in a sports thing here, and it's like, dude, where does it end? I don't know if it ever does. So one leads right to the other one. So I, reach out to guys like Dave all the time, like, hey man, how the heck do you handle this? How do you hoard this herd in a line? Because it doesn't work like that. So, but yeah, beautiful family. Been blessed to be part of the foundation, the Wounded Warrior Action Foundation's mission since 2008. So I don't know if I have enough fingers and toes to count that up, but it doesn't seem that long ago. And has a lot of great things. Time sure has flown and led us here. And as you guys said, I was been part of the Southwest Ohio event, the team there since I guess the first year I was there, and then I missed a few years, kind of in the running of it. But it's just an amazing group of people. Just a great team you guys have formed. And I mean, it shows to the dudes. They know whenever they come there, man, they're gonna get nothing but you guys' absolute best. And it's life changing what you guys have done there, and it really means a lot to me. So I'm just happy to be part of the team and fit in where I can.
I hear. Is that your phone going
turkey.
off?
That's my phone. That was my phone.
Purring.
Someone forgot to silence their phone. There it is. You got to get ready, man. It is the season.
I know. Hey, I'm excited about it. But let me just say before we go on to some more open discussion here. But for those that don't know Jake and have never met him and are tuning in for the first time, Jake is a Purple Heart recipient himself. Was shot 7 times, I think it was, in Iraq. And we thank you for your service. Jake was retired as a buck sergeant, and with a Purple Heart. And for those people that don't know, that's what the foundation does. We provide world-class outdoor sporting activities to our nation's combat wounded as a way to recognize their service, recognize and honor their service, connect them with other fellow Purple Heart recipients and great communities and people, like the Southwest Ohio chapter, and also connect them with the great outdoors. And when you start layering all these things together, as Dan mentioned, the guys leave after 4 or 5 days of, a world-class outdoor sporting activity, like the Ducks and Bucks event that you guys do there in Ohio. And they're blowing snot bubbles. They're embracing each other. They don't want to go home. They love what just happened. There's a lot of camaraderie. a lot of respect. And it's mostly because guys like you and your supporting communities are giving your A game. I mean, I guarantee you, I mean, it's your A. It's the best you can do. You've been planning for it for the whole year. Yeah, and there's a ton of preparation, from the fields that you've selected, the scouting you've done, the equipment you employ. I mean, the care and precision that you execute the operation with. I mean, all of that is just amazing to me. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you put into it and all that you've done, the lives that you've touched and affected. I mean, I remember I was on the first event with Jake, and and I remember laying in a ground blind in a cornfield. Okay, and it's going to bounce back to Stu here in a second, but we're laying in a cornfield. It's dark. The sun's just getting ready to break the horizon, and we got a spread in front of us. I think there was a slough or something right in front of us, if I remember. And we're all locked and loaded, and here comes like the sky turns like black, and the mallards are all cupped up, and they're coming into the spread. My heart's in my throat, and I'm like waiting for Dave to call it, because I'm like gonna crush them. They're right there. You can see their beady little eyes in the twilight.
Smell their breath.
You can smell their breath. And Dave's like, no. It's not time. It's not time. I'm like, but that's what being a good sportsman is, right? I mean, we were 1 minute. I think by his watch, we were 1 minute from shooting light, legal shooting light, and he wouldn't call it. And I had huge respect for that, right? That's the right thing to do. You did it, and we ended up killing a lot of ducks later anyway. But God bless you, man. So appreciate that. So anyway, let me ask you, Stewie, why do you do this, man? Why are you doing this, and what's it do for you?
I think the way when it first came out after Dan had contacted you, John, I think Danny and I just collectively, before we even had the thought in our mind about this is what we wanted to do, and we wanted to kind of search out and see what was out there. The Iraq War was still going on, so we were still in wartime, and I think at the time when I first got on the foundation website, the DOD, it was like 70,000 something Purple Hearts had already been issued, or the correct terminology is there were 70,000 Purple Heart recipients from OIF. So when Danny and I, we kind of just looked at each other and like,
yeah,
what are we doing, man? We got to do something better than us as people. Let's do something for combat wounded recipients. And Danny basically was like, I think he just Google searched and found it, contacted you, and
yeah.
So interesting enough to go back and you think about this, 11 years. And I was telling John the other day when he first reached out to me, I said, I really don't care about anything during hunting season anymore, with the exception of the third weekend of January. That's it. Like, you put everything that you have into this and nothing really matters. And I think, John, at one time you said to me, just don't make your expectations theirs. And I've still not been able to accept that, because I want these American heroes, Jake Whipkeys, all the guys we've met over the years, to be able to enjoy what we've enjoyed for so many years. And it is still therapeutic for anybody that had a hard day at work, or, their kid didn't make the baseball team, to go out and to experience Mother Nature. But when you think about the changing effects of a guy that can just go in at no cost because of great people giving their land and their time and their money, we will mention these people, men and women, to be able to see what we've seen for so many years. And it's not about harvesting a 6-man limit. Yeah, that's great. That's like 10% of it. It's actually just getting these guys together, and when they get here, like Danny said, there's a little, it's tense sometimes. These guys are like, okay, here I am, and I don't know any of these guys. We talked on the phone a little bit, but they are different when they leave. And I think for so many reasons, but we probably have maxed out a lot of credit cards for people that have gone home. They have bought duck hunting gear and deer blinds and decoys and I indirectly were responsible for, I hope there's never been any divorces, but these guys are ate up and Mother Nature's has provided. And it really is. It's a great thing. And I am honored to be a part of the foundation. I'm glad that Danny and I had that moment in time where we were able to collectively get together and say, we've been doing this for so many years. Let's just offer it up to something greater than us. And that's really what it was. The foundation gave us the tool to do that. And like a good track meet, man, you're off to the races. But I hold it dear to my heart personally. And I try to teach my kids that, people will always talk about what you did for others, not for yourself. And that's kind of like how I see it is, I forget the guy that came in like 3 years ago. And I think he mentioned on the after action review, he's like, I'm just ate up at duck hunting. And I think Southwest Ohio, I'm like, accomplished. We gave him something more to look forward to.
Right.
Hopefully during those dark times when they're having their moments and they're kind of looking back on some of the hardest times of their life, they can say, I'm just going to go duck hunting. Everything's better now. Good. We were able to be a part of that. So that's
that's good. That's good stuff, man. The other day I was thinking about the model, right? I mean, how does this work? Why is it grab so much traction? And I think there's a lot of reasons for that, and everybody's got their own, I think, but they're all kind of similar. The one thread I think you could probably, weave throughout is more of a subconscious thing. And it is that, hey, I went off to war, and I fought for freedom in this country, and I bled in our uniform in the boots that I was issued. And often they're discharged, based on the nature of their injuries, like, Jake, and now they're back on the block, and now what? Okay. And then all of a sudden they get turned on to, somehow, some way, by word of mouth, typically, hey, there's this organization takes guys hunting and fishing. If you got a Purple Heart, you're good to go. And then they somehow find us, they apply, and then we provide them services. And then what happens is people like you, who they don't know and never met, are given their A game. All right. It's like your Super Bowl. These guys show up. Everything is perfect as it can be. And I'm not talking about lavish perfect. I'm talking about, sportsman perfect. And you guys have busted your hump, making it happen. And these guys are like, who are these people? I mean, if you went off and fought, in a foreign war and got wounded and could no longer wear the uniform, and now 5, 10, 15 years later, or whatever it's been, these people are opening their homes and their hearts to you, and their resource, making that available and providing you an opportunity at no cost that meets the world-class standard. That's got to have an impact. Psychologically, that's got to have an impact. That kind of says, I think, hey, what I did mattered. At least it mattered to these people in this community. And wow, if that's not validation, then I don't know what is. I mean, Jake, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think, you hit it right on the head with the way you started. You got these guys that are yanked out of a team setting, and a lot of them, graduated high school, graduated college, and then they've been part of a team, whether it's sporting team or whatever, all their entire lives. And then all of a sudden, boom, they're not on a team anymore. What do? I have my wife and kids at home, haven't figured out what I'm gonna do with this whole job thing or career thing yet. And, they're longing to be part of a team. I'm a prime example. I've been part of sports all my life, and then, get out of the military. And it's like, now what? Like, what part of the team am I on now? Mm-hmm. And
Right.
I think the foundation fills that niche, and I think that it's all made possible by the great guys like Dan and Dave here that form their own team and then invite these other guys that come on their team and, hey man, come be part of us and fill the void that we have, and we're gonna give to each other. And it's amazing. A symbiotic relationship, because they need you as much as the hosts. They feel they love having these dudes as much as the guys love being there. So it's amazing to see it work. It's the magic. We've called it the magic before, and I truly think that it is, because it's so touching to see it happen. And it's just super rewarding to be part of it. And, just to have a small piece of the magic to me is better than anything at all. So I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Like 16 years ago when we started pulling this thing off, I remember not immediately then, but sometime early on when other people, started reaching out to me saying, hey, I want to help. Like, Dan, finding this on the web and us having our first conversation, which I actually remember, 12 years ago. And that right there I was like, wow, because that was not the model originally. I mean, I bought a chunk of property in northern Wisconsin and you've heard the saying, like the church saying, build it and they'll come. That was the model. Okay. I was all in. I took everything I owned and put it in the middle of the table and said, I'm going to do this right here. I got a boat, I got a dog, I got a fifth wheeler, I got a chunk of property. Boom. That's all I need. And I was doing it. I was doing it for 2 years before I even had a piece of paper from the IRS that said that I could do it without being taxed, and that people could give me money, without being, without having to pay taxes on it. But the point, I guess, is that when other people like y'all started crawling out of the woodworks and saying I wanted to help, it's like, okay, pump the brakes on this healing center idea you got in northern Wisconsin. And start taking these heroes and delivering them, to great sportsmen like, Dave and Dan here in your community. Because if you look at the model and you say, it's business, and you think about it from a throughput perspective, right? I mean, if they were widgets, the more widgets you can produce, the more dosage, WWIA dosages you could give, like the inoculation, if you will. The better off you could be. And I can start serving more guys immediately if I'm distributing them across the country to great people like you. And that's what's happened. And so, I'm kind of, sometimes I'm like, pinch me. Is this real? Are these people are really doing this? And it's just, I'm humbled. I'm amazed. I'm humbled. I can't, there's not enough adjectives. I don't have the right adjective to say how much I appreciate what you all have done, genuinely. And I think, the other side of the equation is you get something from it, right? I think your community members do. I think the hosts do. Certainly the heroes do. The guides do. There's, like Jake said, there's some magic in there. Danny, what do you think, man?
No, I mean, you're hitting it right on the head there. I mean, Jake was talking a minute ago about, and he was basically said teamwork. Everybody knows what teamwork is, but just like as an example, this year was like incredibly difficult for me. My mom was in hospice, bought a new house, needs tons of work. My mom passed away, so I was under extreme stress trying to put this event on this year. And just to mention a few names, I mean, we got Don Stalbitz, Richard Wright, Ken Stalbitz, Mark Caskey, Dave Whittastatter, Eric Hicks, and John Hagwood, and there's many other people. But me and Dave could basically walk away next year, possibly if Dave just says, here are the honey spots. Me and him could walk away, and these guys would jump up, grab the event, and it would get accomplished. Like I said, we've got so much help that makes our job so much easier. Me and Dave are just up here kind of talking to you, but there's so many people that make these events happen. All these sponsors. I mean, people just knock on our door sometimes and say, "Hey, do you need any help? We'll throw some money your way just to help the event, be sustainable, because that's what we want it to be, obviously." But it's just amazing the people that help us, because they see everything that needs to happen. And they love being a part of it every year. I don't think we've had very few people who's gone and said, that's not for me. No, everybody's like totally in. They want to help and do a great job.
You suffer from this, probably the same thing that I do. The original mission set's still up there at Camp Hackett. And of course, you don't have a huge population up there. I mean, I don't know, when you drive by, was it like 1,500 people, Jake, up there? 1,300 people? 1,500. 1,500. It's just a small community. 15. But, part of the problem is, managing the help, right? I mean, there's so many people crawling out of the woodworks wanting to help that, you're become a victim of your own success. And I was amazed way back when people like you, the hosts and the guys, because I didn't know if you'd ever want to do it again. I had no idea. It's like, that's a great event. I mean, maybe this is one and done. I don't know. But when guys are talking about next year's event before on the event that you're on, you're like, wow, we got something working here. This is really good stuff. So yeah, no, that's great. I appreciate you mentioning the community members. I mean, many hands make for light work, and that's, it's also really important because I think the communities want to give back. People want to give back. They, the sportsmen, the crowd of sportsmen, the men and women out there that love outdoor sporting activities, hunting and fishing, they're by and large a pretty patriotic lot, and all the foundation's done is provide a bit of a vehicle for them to, touch the magic, to get involved, to, God bless all veterans. I like to say that, if you put on our uniform, God bless you. Okay. But if you bled in it, I mean, that to me is, as a 20-year veteran myself and combat veteran myself, who was not wounded in combat, I have a huge amount of respect for, hey, if you were in for 15 minutes and got wounded, and that's, God bless you, you qualify, right? But anyway, Jake, you had some questions. I think you wanted to, didn't you mention that you had a couple things you wanted to ask, some questions you want to ask? I think you wanted to put Stewie on the spot, didn't you?
Well, I think it's important as we grow and stuff. And I know their events grow like, crazy. And I think as you look back, it might help someone else just have a little better perspective. But, Stu, what do you see? It's a freaking 11 years, dude. It's hard to believe. But what do you see in the future looking forward? If you had a crystal ball, what do you see for Southwest Ohio as changes? And, how do you see the future looking for your event?
Jake, so it's interesting. The term that came to mind was it's kind of like when you have all these people that are willing to help and they're giving their time, they're away from their families, they're taking off work. This event kind of has a little mode of autopilot because of the people. It kind of runs itself because everybody knows everybody's got a job to do. Like, we can connect, text, hey, what are you doing? You got this, you got food, what's going on? What are the birds? But really in the end, it's on autopilot. And, we're always trying to, a stalemate is bad. We're always trying to get better at what we're doing. There was some hardship this year. Danny, I'm sorry. That was awful, man. And super trooper, just push through, bro. That's awesome. And that's dedication at its finest. So I thank you for that. Crystal ball, Whip, I don't really know. I mean, obviously, for me personally, it kind of sounds like an oxymoron, it's not about the birds and the harvest and but really in the end, I beat myself up when I get those 1 or 2s or 3, you'll have a good year, then you'll have a bad year. I mean, like you said, man, it was tough. You do.
And we got to hug it out.
My expectation is always I want these guys to see exactly. So I am trying to just get better. Like the first element of being a successful hunter, with the exception of like deer is concealment. So I'm always thinking about how, when ducks are circling, how can I conceal better? And when you have concealment, you have to take into consideration the heroes and the nature of their injuries. And the nice thing about it is our support staff is impeccable when it comes to, they're like, and I don't want to use the word servants, but they are serving these guys in every capacity possible. Like, hey, how you guys doing? You need anything? We got bottled water. Does anybody have a headache? And so if I had to give you a really short answer, the only thing I can think of is I'm just trying to get better as an outdoorsman and increase our chances to, and like I said, their expectations are not mine. Excuse me. I'm like my expectations. I shouldn't make that for them. Like, I want these guys to see, 5 and 6 man limits in an hour and a half where they're just, and we can get into some of the funny hunts that we had over the years where, are they going to show up? Are they going to show up? Were they in here yesterday? How many were in here? That's the funny thing about hunting is everybody that, these guys aren't saying like, how many were in here yesterday and, when did they show up? So, Yeah, I think when it comes to like just basically lodging and stuff, we've talked, in the future about maybe moving that operation out of. I'm not going to mention where we're actually staying at, but just to, just for privacy purposes, we've talked about moving it to not a more elegant place because the model that we have does work, but amenities could be a little better. I think to answer your question, that would be number one. Number two would just to be become a better hunter and increase my chances or increase their chances of harvesting a bird. And that means, scouting harder. And we're doing that every year. Scout harder, better gear, better concealment. And that's really all I can think of. Other than that, I always go back to this autopilot thing. Like, these guys, these are their brothers. They are, man. It's an awesome support staff. And that autopilot terminology, what I mean is everybody knows what they got to do. Don and Richard Cook. I go out and scout, and I'm pumping fields and setting blinds up, and everybody's. And the nice thing about having Whip on these events, and I want him back every year, is like I don't even have to communicate to Jake. Like, he knows exactly what to do. Like, he knows how I think, and that just makes everything so much smoother. And of course, when nothing shows up, it's like, dude, where are the birds at? I'm like, how many weren't here yesterday? Oh man, you've been Mother Nature, man. I can't get her on speed dial and order them up. Buddy.
I really appreciate you.
But yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah,
I don't doubt you for 1 second. I know you got something going on.
The pressure. They say, pressure makes diamonds, right?
That's it. And for Danny, I asked Stu, kind of looking in the future, Danny, like if you look in, kind of in the rearview mirror, I guess you guys have made some big changes in the past few years. Before it was strictly a waterfowl event with an upland segment to it there. Now you guys have added the deer hunting, which I think is a great addition. You guys have some great properties there you guys are working on. Like looking in the rearview mirror, any advice or any growing pains you could see? Boy, if I could have told myself this 11 years ago, it sure would have helped a lot. I mean, you have any great words of wisdom?
In that regard, we've pretty much learned how to fly and just be like ready for any hunting condition. John, actually, I think the first year you were here, it was just not a ducky year. We did shoot some ducks, but we shifted things up and we went and hunt pheasants and chucker the 1 year. We've done that like 4 or 5 times, I believe.
At the club, yeah.
Yeah. So
by the way, I still have that T-shirt. I'm sorry, the black T-shirt with the emblem on it there. I still have it. It's like it's in the rotation, but I don't want it to die. So I'm like,
right.
Anyway.
We just have to. If you host an event, you basically just have to be ready to do whatever, because you know how it is. Weather dictates everything that you do. But we've been able to shift it up. And actually, I did hear some sad information. Was it the place we hunted pheasants at not too long ago?
Yeah. Mulberry Pheasantry.
Gentleman.
Was it Mulberry?
Yes.
Mulberry Pheasantry. Yeah. So he passed away, which was because he was awesome to us. He set us up perfectly, and the guys loved that too. But we just have to shift gears. Jake, you were kind of you were talking about the in the blind stuff. Dave and Jake are typically in the blind with these guys, and humor is such a big part of get these guys to just let their hair down and have fun. And Dave, you were doing the thing before where you grabbed your cell phone and the guys were like, when the birds are going to hear, and you were like, well, hold on, let me see if I ordered them. Okay, 1-800 ducks on the way.
Doppler radar, and here, I'm going to show this picture real quick.
Right.
So this is a picture of
flynow.com.
Maybe 3 years ago. You can see the tall specimen in the background. That would be Jake Whipkey. Now these guys are, and we were waited on. They brought these fine, delicious cheese conies out to us, compliments of Skyline chili, and they had coney dogs in the blind. That just. Yes,
you're having chow delivered to your duck blind. Yeah, that didn't happen.
There's always room for improvement. So
I don't know if you guys remember this, but there's a famous photo out there of Jake posing for a calendar shot.
Oh yeah, that happened right there in the pasture, Mr. Ellis's pasture.
I have it, and I mean, I'm just going to say it. It's kind of a sexy picture.
Hey, when you got it, you got it, Daddy. When you got it, you got it.
Oh, that just rips me up.
That's cheese pony.
Is that it?
That's cheese. That's cheese in my beard.
Whoa.
It was classic.
That's the after effects. Yeah.
Wow.
I do have
it's always classic.
Yeah, I want to hear some blind stories. We miss a lot of that. The blind stories that you and Dave share with the
I can go back and recap on that first year, John. You had mentioned it. So yeah, I don't remember if anybody actually had an iPhone. So you really can't beat the shooting, clock system anymore because they're all synced together. But I think we were looking at it like Iron Man watches, like. And at no time did I ever think, who's got the fastest watch, on the minute count. So we were doing a countdown, and the interesting about this field is John, you were right. There was a creek and we were all lined up. I mean, it was a firing line to say the least, and it would have been really ugly because across the creek from us was standing corn, and not to do that, like divide by the bird count or multiply the bird count. Realistically, we had a couple hundred ducks circling us within 15 yards. And we got down to 30 seconds and they were like rounding third, heading for home, which would have been us. And Jake's like, it's go time. And they went straight back to the quarry. And I thought to myself,
we were on the countdown. Mm-hmm. It was like 25, 24.
So yeah, and it would have been ugly.
Is that what happened? I mean, I've got it on GoPro, by the way. I had my I have it somewhere. I should have looked for it, but I remember like GoPro, and I remember like I was having feathers in my face.
It was amazing. It really was. So to Danny, blind stories. The one that kind of sticks out is who's the guy that came in 3 years ago? I don't remember his name, but Succulent. This was his pitcher, and he cannot.
Randy. Was it Randy?
And he's from Oklahoma, I believe.
He despised the TSA because he was an amputee, and they were always screwing with him where they're doing all the scans and everything before you check in. And at any time the TSA came up, it's succulents, suck. And I don't think I ever really asked what that meant. I was trying to spell it at one time, but I never.
Yeah. He always said, apologize.
Apologize.
But blind stories. Oklahoma, apologize. But he would say the word succulent. I'm just trying to track on this. I don't understand how the word succulent.
Well, he had such a despise for the TSA people. So whenever we brought up TSA and like, hey, you're going to have to go back to the TSA again, he's like, succulents. I'm like, I don't know how these two are ever connected, but they were within the same sentence. So somehow they are connected to him. It is.
See, that's duck blind talk. See? You can't make it up. Only there's like a handful of people now, much more now.
The one thing that sticks out, I guess I could go to like the bullet point number, 4 about like memorable. There's so many memories. There's not one favorite one. They are just impeccably awesome. But I do remember the one down at the farm that was just absolutely legendary. John, you didn't come back in. In fact, I don't think I had Zillig's farm at the time. The first year, but
you pointed it out though. It was there was a pond, and I think on the horizon there was a farm that you had pointed to and said something like, "If we could be there."
Well, it's basically a neighborhood now, but interesting enough, before I would go down there, I would have to call the police department to let them know, there's going to be like 5 crazy dudes down here just banging away. So, hey, we're licensed up, we're all good. But there was a neighborhood right next to it. And it was an epic place. I mean, I could flood it. I had it all to myself. But long story short, we hunted at the northern farm. And we harvested a couple ducks. I I was looking at the weather and I saw him. There's a front coming in. Now, keep in mind, it was like that comfortable pouring down rain. It wasn't like 35 degrees. So I was like, all right, we're going to get wet and it's going to be ugly. But there was a picture that circulated out where Jake came out of this. We left the one farm, went back, got some food, stopped in a Speedway. Jake came out of the bathroom. I think Greg Hughes had a real bad headache, and I think it went away as soon as he saw Jake walk out with just his pajamas on and his face painted. It was.
Yeah. Might have been a ninja suit on. My black ninja suit.
Oh, yeah.
Painted up, dude, rolling right in. I went into Skyline like that, to be honest with you.
He
Everything
had just
else I had was
wearing
thermals.
what? I'm sorry, wearing what?
Thermals.
Like
tops
my
and bottom.
black ninja suit. Yeah.
Oh,
Like
just
spandex?
without anything,
No,
without
full
anything
spandex.
over it?
Camo
Full
compact.
spandex.
Full spandex. Painted up.
Glorious.
Still was pretty glorious.
Came out of the was a Safeway bathroom
So-
like that.
I went in as well.
We booked down to the
kinda
Zillig
snuck out the
farm
door.
and we got set up and we
Excellent.
probably waited for a good hour and a half. And I think Don, it started to get cold. The temperature was dropping and I knew it was just going to get ugly fast. And it started raining and it rained sideways. It was like Forrest Gump rain that came in from the side. And I remember I looked over at Greg Hughes and the ducks started flying and we were just jamming shells as fast as we could. And Greg looked at me, he's like, is this normal? And like, I looked over in his blind and like, he was basically just sitting in water. It was probably 2 or 3 inches deep in his layout blind. He's like, is this normal? There's just empty halls floating. And I think Jake's like, this is
That's
great,
comfortable.
man. It's going to get better. And I think we all limited out and probably in half an hour, but Greg's face was like, is this normal? Are we supposed to be sitting in these elements? And yes, that's
I love it.
Well, let me ask you, because I've always, sort of wondered this myself. I mean, I've been hunting ducks ever since I could carry a shotgun. I'm not a great duck hunter, but I'm probably, an average duck hunter, but I enjoy it nonetheless. But I don't have like a trailer full of decoys like you guys do. And you guys rock up with I mean, at least you did 12 years ago. Now you might have a semi now or something. I don't know. But back then you had like a dual axle, white, I remember white trailer that when you opened it up, everything was like dress right dress. It was perfect. It's like somebody had spent just countless hours. It was probably you, Dave, I would imagine. Maybe it was Dan. I don't know who owns this trailer or who owned it. But I remember when the back dropped and it was time to put the decoys out, I was just like, yes, that's the standard right there. That these guys are serious about their business. And anyway, I mean, I was just super impressed. But what I was wondering is, why do the ducks fly when it's really crappy? Because every time it's really super crappy and you're a sportsman, you go, it's good duck. It's good duck weather. They don't fly when it's a bluebird day. But why when it starts raining sideways and you're sitting in 6 inches of water and and your blind starting to float away, and your fingers are numb, and you got snot sickles hanging out of your face. Why is it that the ducks fly?
Some of the old timers always used to say like hunt the front.
Anybody?
And I think it's just probably anything else. If you were to put it in human terms, what do we do when a storm's? What do most people do when they hear snow and ice coming? Well, they go to the grocery store, right? They gotta pick up some chow. They don't know how long they're going to be settled in, so they got to get their bellies full. So I think there's probably a panic mode to get inside of a duck's head. My guess is the same way people would react is there's a barometric pressure change, and just like any other wild animal, they'll sense it before we do. And the old guys used to say, and sometimes
so you're saying they get on the front end of it.
Sometimes you can be just as successful going in right in the middle of the front or hunting after the front already passes through, but you always try to hunt that front and be set up before the front comes in. But my guess is probably just barometric pressure change and the atmospheric conditions. They just know things are getting ready to go down, just like humans would go prepare for, a power outage or snow coming or ice. Jake, you probably...
Interesting. Well, I got to throw one more. Yeah, I'm going to throw one more out there at you, and then we'll run around the horn for closing comments, because I know everybody's got, a busy day ahead of you. But I have some parting gifts for you too. I'm going to get up out of my chair in a second. So when I take my headset off and go, I'm going to show you something I'm going to send you guys that are pretty cool. But anyway, if you had to give some advice to anybody who's interested or may be interested in doing something like this, starting in their own chapter, helping the foundation and our heroes, mostly the heroes, what would you say? What would you tell them? What advice would you tell them? Dan, what do you got? What do you got?
I mean, I think the advice I would tell them is, basically, is it in your heart? Do you think that you can give back, and do you think that what you think you're going to do is going to make a difference? Because, if you're not totally into it and don't believe that what you can do good for individuals who've been, wounded in combat and who have a lot of issues that they're trying to deal through, do you think you can do it? If they think they can, and they've got the resources and they've got the friends that can actually help put an event on, I'd say go for it, because, once you get hooked, you know what it does. I mean, the first event, like I said, when you see these guys come in and they're all timid and just don't know what to think, and by the end of the event, if you've done your job, you've done a lot of good for them. You've healed them, mentally, physically. You've done more than you think. So that's what I would tell anybody. If you think you can do it, but your heart's got to be in it.
That's a great way of putting it. I appreciate that. I think you're 100% right.
Yeah, second. Absolutely,
Stu,
Danny.
you got anything to add to that?
Well, we're only successful in numbers. And surround yourself with good, honest people that are willing to have the same work ethic that you have, and that is 100% in all the time. Danny and I can't do this alone. I mean, we're surrounded with some great people, just excellent people. And you either you got it or you don't. Don't do it for yourself, do it for them. And I thought of something here. Prior to this, the podcast is I'm just going to go back to a line that was at the very end of Band of Brothers. Was actually being told by Major Dick Winters. And this was at the very end, the last episode, when they were at the baseball game. And he was going through what happened to Easy Company guys after the war was over. And he said, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think of the men that I served with who never got to enjoy the world without war. And I've always thought about that. And I thought, so our job here is for these, fine young men and women to come into Ohio and tell them, thank you for your service, your sacrifice. John, you said at one time, respected by all, sought by none, the Purple Heart. And what we're trying to do is just let them know that there is a world out there that doesn't have to be always about war. And I'm trying to just make that parallel and it's always going to be in the back of their mind. But if we can just show them something that's just so beautiful, like Mother Nature and sportsmen, like in con veterans that have similar experiences, that really in the end is mission accomplished if we can give them something forward to look to every day when they're going through their hard times. And it's in your heart to be able to do this. And I think it's by and far is the greatest thing that anybody could do is to provide for something for somebody else other than themselves. And that's, Danny, kind of compounding on what you said. That's how I feel, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Yep, spot on.
Yeah. Well, it's powerful stuff, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you have another way of saying, an alternative way of saying that is that, you have a servant's heart. The heroes all have it. And that's why they call it the service. It's a volunteer. It wasn't the case in Vietnam, and in previous world wars, there was conscript. There's drafts. But, today we have a peacetime army. 100% of all service members are volunteers, and if they all raise their right hand and swear to uphold the Constitution and the orders of the officers appointed over them. And if you do that, you are, by definition, I think, a servant to this nation, a soldier, a warrior. of the state, if you will. And just because you get wounded doesn't make that go away. That's why so many people like Jake, great guides who's been through our guide school, come back and want to serve. They still have that in them. What am I going to do now that I'm back on the block? This idea of being back on a team. I got wounded. I can't no longer serve my country. I have to take this uniform off. I didn't want to take this jersey off. What? I wanted to continue to wear this jersey. I fought hard for this jersey. I'm really happy that I got this jersey. And now I got to take it off and I can't wear it anymore. Now, what team am I on now? The retired team. I don't want to be on that team. Everything I loved and worked for is gone. Well, so the foundation tries to, I think there's a role for us, put these guys back on a team, share, even if it's for a long weekend, right? I mean, it makes a difference in their lives. You guys are making huge differences in their lives, massive impact. And, and it's really, really appreciated. So I want to, make sure that you guys know, again, how proud we are of you and how much we respect what you've done. And, you're amazing Americans and great volunteers, and you're all dads. What a great thing, right? I'll bet your children are just awesome, that's just, I'm a dad, we're all part of that club, but, that's the idea, right? Is we're all trying to raise fine human beings. And at the end of the day, that's what I think that's going to measure, that's a good yardstick. These, young men and women that, that dads are, helping raise or raising, go off into our society and contribute in some way. Some will wear a uniform, some won't, right? Yeah, I think you guys have hit it. If you don't have that in your heart, don't do it. This is not, you're not doing this for you. But oh, by the way, the PS to this is there's a ton that comes back to you, right? There's a ton that comes back to you for what you've done. And I feel it like every single day of my life. I feel that weight, that impact, that what's coming back to me, and I try really hard to just take like a mirror and reflect or deflect whatever's coming at me to where it really belongs, like with you people, the great Americans who are helping this mission happen. But if you get involved, and you decide to cross that threshold, whether you're providing monetary support or starting a mission or turning Purple Heart recipients onto us, if you decide to cross that threshold, the warning label ought to say, stand by, because it's coming back at you. It's coming back at you in a very positive way. It's going to fill your life with things that you could have never imagined. You're going to meet people that you never thought you could meet or would meet. And there's a lot of richness, in this space. And I think part of the reason that we have like a 98% rate of return, in terms of our customers, it's it's a business way of looking at it, but the reality is that about 98% of those who start a mission stay with a mission and continue to do it year after year after year. And it's always sort of perplexed me, why is that? And you said, Stewie, you're talking about, it's not me, it's them, all these great people. And that's true, and you could walk away from it and it would continue. And that's what I was saying the other day, or I've been thinking about it for years, and I don't want to take a dirt bath, none of us do. But, hey, lightning strikes, you name it, what happens, life is fleeting. And, the testament to any organization and any chapter, I think any organization, is how well it performs in the absence of its key leaders. And so that's what you're really trying to do, is build this chapter or this organization out so that, really you as an individual are inconsequential. And I think we're there. At least with me, I was jokingly saying many years ago, I can't wait for the time that people go, John who? And that's what we want, that's what we want. And there's so much power out there, and wonderful because you guys have poured your heart and soul into it. And I appreciate that. I know they appreciate it, even though they don't typically, somebody was saying the other day, did he write you a thank you letter? I go, no. And I go, wow, man, that sucks. No, it doesn't. The thank you is they write a testimonial, right? Read the testimonial. It's the most one. We have they're just like, I don't know. I mean, I counted them the other day. It's close to 1,000 of them. We digitized them all and put them on the website, under testimonials. There's like 1,000 of them there. First person testimonials from the heroes that we've served over the years. And that's the thank you. I mean, read some of those things. They'll put you on, you guys got books, man. Put you on, some of the stuff put you on your knees.
Yeah, John. I didn't mention it before, but the heroes that we serviced over the years, they are the most appreciative bunch of men I've ever met. I mean, they really enjoy what we're doing for them. I don't need a letter. I just need them to say it, and we know it. I mean, they're just incredible individuals. Mm-hmm. They tell us the entire way. Last day, I mean, they're incredible.
Yeah. It makes it's. I don't. I mean, it's such. And I have to get real touchy feely about it, but it's a feel good space. Mm-hmm. It really is. And Jake, you've said this many times about how it's changed your life, and that relationships that you've made out there across the country, and the friendships.
John, I'd like to mention. I'd like to say thanks to Tim Belinsky. So this would have been our second year for the deer hunt, and just wrapping up just all the support staff, from Don and Danny and Mark and Ken and Richard and all these guys. Like I said, we can't do it by ourselves. But I'm not going to mention landowners, but I make it very clear to landowners, just like the foundation's mission is you're opening your land up, and this is what it's for. And really, in the end, we can't do it without them. And that's the nice thing about it is they are so appreciative, just like Danny said, the heroes that come in, the landowners. And I always want to thank the foundations for the correspondence after. We always follow up, and I'll get a call saying, hey, I got a letter from the foundation and a nice, framed thank you sign with, John McDaniel. And they're very thankful. And just, it doesn't, when you tell people what you're trying to do, they don't have to think about it for very long. And that just tell you how powerful it is. Like, you're going to do what? Like, you're almost expecting like a no. Yeah. It isn't. And they're like, absolutely.
It's not a hard
when
sell.
Are they coming in?
Yeah.
Let us know exactly, what you need, if anything. Mm-hmm. Like, I like to put a shout out to like Sam Morgan and Tim Belinsky, who've opened up their ground, hundreds and hundreds of acres exclusively for. And this is a law enforcement style community where Tim Belinsky is a retired Dayton police officer. So he has quite a few guys that he knows being retired that are former and current law enforcement, FBI, that he tells them, hey, 2 weeks prior to these guys coming in, there's no hunting on this property. It's exclusive for them. So that is just heartfelt for me, because somebody is opening their ground up and we're not paying them. They're just saying, it's yours. Let us know if you need anything. And it's awesome. So I wanted to make sure that those two gentlemen are mentioned, and they're asking us throughout the year, you guys doing the event again this year? When's it coming up? Let us know if you need anything. B&B Carryout is another one. It's instrumental because it's that halfway point from where we stay to where we start to go hunt at. And really, I do want to mention it is grassroots when we look back to think that, they stayed, everybody came in, they stayed at the Holiday Inn, they stayed in my barn, they stayed in the basement. I mean, we had some pretty interesting places that we laid our head down at night. And so absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the feathers in the driveway.
Boots
Jake.
in the driveway, man.
Boots in the driveway. It looked like a whole couple dozen
feathers everywhere.
Oh, beautiful. That'll speechless.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So every now and again, So I'm the viewers can't see that, or the listeners can't see this, but the four of us are looking at each other on this quad screen. Mm-hmm. So we're all in geographically different locations, but I'm putting up here this Happy Creek duck call. They're beautiful, and so every now and again I'll get a hold of some of these things that I think are awesome calls, and then I send them off to great guys like you, so you guys can expect these coming at you. I think they.
Oh.
Beautiful.
Stu, how's he doing?
Not very good. Not very good. At least with my, it doesn't sound good.
I'm landing in the spread right now.
With headphones on.
It never sounds the same inside.
Yeah. 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 No, it's a handsome call. Anyway, you guys are getting, you expect these coming when I'm getting ready to, I got my trailer all hooked up to my truck right now. I packed it this morning. I dipped my traps last night. Some of my Bridger number 5s got re-dipped last night. So I'm heading up to Camp Hackett.
Is that what the tape is
nice.
The thumb's taped up for? Did you get a little
again?
You're lucky you still have that baby.
No. I caught my thumb in a trap a couple of years ago.
Wow.
And I had my,
I wasn't going to tell.
I tell you what, the hardest part is getting it off. Like that I'm telling you. And you know what? I'd have wished that had got me good, but it didn't. If it had got you on the knuckle or something, I could have got my fingers in there and got it off. But it got me on the thumb in the
makes a grown man cry like a baby,
and it was
pinchy pinch.
Pinch. It did. I laughed when I got it off. I laughed because I said, "You're an idiot, man." But it happens, I mean, hey, if you mess around with it long enough, something's going to happen, right? So anyway, I'm going up there to trap some. I drew an otter tag, so I'm really excited. First one ever. For me anyway, so I'm really excited about going up there and trying to find some get on a trail of some otter and see what I can do. But anyway, hey, listen, guys, any saved rounds? Anybody got something you want to get off your chest? Need to say? All right, I really, really appreciate all that you can do. It's great to see you guys again. Thank you so much for all that you do. Thank your community, your families for all the time that you spend doing this. It's really super important, and I'm proud of all of you, and you're my friends, and I appreciate what you do.
Sounds good. Look forward to seeing you next year. You coming up?
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. Yeah, it's time, isn't it? It's time.
It is.
It's time. Oh,
definitely.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll get this on the air soon.
Have
as
a good
we can,
day.
Okay.
Sounds great. Thanks, John.
Thank you guys all.
Thanks, Jake.
All right. Thanks, guys. All right. Bye.
Bye.
To learn more about the mission of the Wounded Warriors in Action Foundation and how you can get involved, please visit our website at WWIAF.org or follow our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Thank you for listening to the WWIA podcast and for helping us honor, connect, and heal our combat wounded Purple Heart heroes through the power of the great outdoors.
If you like what you're listening to here and would like to join our team in our mission to bring healing power and recovery to America's Purple Heart heroes, please become part of our Sponsor a Hero team by clicking on the link in the podcast notes or by going to WWIAF.org/sponsor. That's WWIAF.org/sponsor. Our heroes need you now more than ever. Thank you.